Counselor Bottomley,
Here.
Counselor Disorder,
Here.
Counselor Elmer.
Here.
Chairman Wheeler, you have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. This may be a short one tonight. I hope no one's disappointed. We will start. We will start with the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 9, April 15, April 16, April 23, April 30th, and May 4th?
So moved, 4G.
Is there a second?
Seconded, Elmer.
Moved by Councilor Forgy and seconded by Councilor Elmer. Is there discussion on the past 6 Ways and Means meeting minutes? I know I was happy to relive those. Councilor DeSorger.
I have one, and I actually have one on the April 23rd one. Just one word.
Can you refer to the page number?
Yes. Okay. Sorry, hold on.
No rush.
April 23rd.
Yes. Oh, okay. The page number is page 10. And it is it is under Ms. Prietti and Ms. Harper answered the following questions. And I actually wrote down the question that I had asked. And it was can you pay salaries? It said, my question was, it's the 4th one down. The 3rd one down. Would the schools pay salaries? The question I asked was, can you pay salaries if services are not being rendered? So I'd like to make that small change because that was the question.
Okay, so is there a motion to amend the minutes of April 23rd by striking the line, would the schools pay salaries to providers whose services are currently suspended? And would you please read again what the line, what you are proposing the line should read?
What I said was, can you pay salaries if services are not rendered?
Can schools pay salaries
for services that
providers whose services are not rendered? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I will second that motion. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Clerk Scott, did you get that down?
I did, and if I got it incorrectly, Tammy will get it verbatim.
Very good. Thank you. I will also motion to amend, if I can find it again here. Let me see. On page 2, I'll motion to amend the minutes of April 9, where in the Director Gilman discussion, the 4th bullet point, Greenfield was reaching its levy ceiling. I would motion to amend by striking the word reaching and replacing it with the word approaching. It's a small difference, but I think perhaps more accurate. Is there a second?
Seconded, Elmer.
DeSorger.
Seconded by
Councilor Wheeler?
Yes.
So we still have a motion on the floor for Jenny, Councilor DeSorger's amendment that has not been voted on yet?
Thank you. Procedural, getting ahead of myself here. Is there any further discussion on Councillor DeSorger's amendment to the minutes of April 23rd? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. I'm seeing 5 hands. Opposed, abstain, passes unanimously. Thank you. Now I will again make the motion to strike in the minutes of April 9th, the word reaching, and replace it with the word approaching. So the sentence would read, Greenfield was approaching its levy ceiling. Is there a second?
Second, DeSorger.
Seconded by Councillor DeSorger. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
5 hands. Opposed, abstain, passes unanimously. Any further discussion on the minutes as a whole? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes of April 9 and April 23rd as amended, and April 15, April 16, April 30th, and May 4th, raise your hand. 5 hands, passes unanimously. Opposed, abstain. Sorry, again, getting ahead of myself. So it passed unanimously. There are no public hearings tonight. Next, we have a motion to authorize a payment on page 17. I move that the council authorizes the payment of, I move that the Ways and Means Committee forwards a positive recommendation that the council authorizes payment of FY15 bills for $67.33 from the FY20 Energy Department budget. Is there a second?
Second, 4G.
Seconded by Councillor Forgy. Because this is a payment of a prior bill from a prior fiscal year, it requires a 9/10 majority vote, which at full council will be 12. And the explanation that you see in the packet reads that the Energy Department researched an outstanding balance on the Green River Electric invoice and traced it way back to April 2015. So it sounds like Carol Collins is doing her due diligence. But is there any discussion on this item?
No.
All right. Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Opposed? Abstain? Passes unanimously. Okay. At this point, we'll move to page 19. City Council first reading, May 20th, 2020, appropriate $95,000 from the 9/11 contributory retirement to offset deficit and 151 legal in the FY20 operating budget. Appropriate $76,000 from 9/11 contributory retirement to offset deficit in 914 health insurance in FY20 operating budget. Appropriate $12,000 from 1627 bond premium to offset deficit and bonded debt paydowns in FY20 operating budget. Appropriate $82,086 from 1627 bond premium for GSET to run fiber. Appropriate $60,000 from DPW accounts to 01004700 trash disposal account for a shortfall. Councilor Forgy.
Councillor Wheeler, I have to recuse myself once again on the motions in regard to contributory retirement. So I will not be voting on those two motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Forgy. And Just to clarify, that was a first reading, and these will come before Ways and Means and then Council for a vote in June. So we won't take any action at this point. Is there any other business at this time? Councilor Disorder.
I just have a question. I heard that we are not taking any action on this. And may I make a comment or ask a question?
I believe so.
Okay. So we made, Director Gilman had explained to us that our retirement costs were accelerating. And so I had concerns about the first two of taking, I know that we're not voting on it yet, but just so that there'll be time to prepare the answers, I'm concerned that we're taking money from contributory retirement to offset bills that we have, considering we had people who told us that they actually had turned back money. So that was my number one thing. That's just a comment or something that we can talk about at another time.
We can.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but if you'd like, we can ask Director Gilman if she'd like to address that now.
Yeah.
Get ahead of things.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Liz. So I submitted a memo with the financial orders that kind of explained what transpired for just this year for us having excess in the retirement account. Now, normally GSET pays directly its own retirement, but last year there was a looming deficit, and we were told that they would not certify the change from their MLP to enterprise fund, their retained earnings, which was very close to the amount of their retirement assessment. So as a caution, I included that so we wouldn't have a huge deficit to be raising from the 20 GSET budget. So as it worked out, the Department of Revenue did certify their retained earnings, so we could use that to offset last year's deficit that did not carry forward. So now this is available. You won't see it again. I can provide for you the assessment letter from perhaps this current year and next year so that you can see what the assessment is and what is being appropriated in the budget, if that helps. I think it would help you because we receive a letter from the Greenfield Retirement Board that says what we must budget.
Yes, yeah, I think if you would forward that to the Ways and Means Committee, that would be
will. Okay.
Yeah.
Councilor Disorder, do you have any follow-up questions? Did that clarify things?
That would be good to see that. And then just to follow up, even with looking at that letter, is it mandatory that we take that from the retirement that you had indicated?
It's not mandatory, but it is excess, and I did confirm that with the retirement board.
Okay.
Before I submitted this, I did speak with Sherry Hildreth, who is the administrator for the retirement board. So I confirmed with her what we still owed for the rest of this year, and so it is excess.
Follow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my follow up is, you had told us that that our retirement costs were going up; they were increasing. Would that have helped us if we weren't? Would that be helpful to us in the future if we weren't appropriating money away from the retirement fund?
Well, we are obligated by law to appropriate the assessment.
Okay.
What Eric determines determines is our assessment schedule, which I think I've shared with you all. I can share again if you would like. We don't have a say in what we appropriate. You will see when you see the letter
All right.
that
done.
GSET was 159,000 just in itself.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right. Thank you, Director Gilman. If I could summarize kind of my understanding or just a couple things. It sounds like this is sort of an unusual occurrence with the GSET operating because of what Director Gilman just explained about the MLP. Normally, we wouldn't have excess in contributory retirement. And even if we did, the only way to apply it to future retirement would be to have some type of stabilization account, which currently we have open. And Director Gilman would love it if we had one for retirement as well. And if we're so lucky as to be in this position again, then maybe we could consider it.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes, Clerk Scott.
there is a memo from Director Gilman regarding the May 2020 financial orders in the council packet on page 70.
Thank you. Very good. Everyone caught that council packet, page 70. So just some fun extra reading for between now and 7 p.m. All right, any other business? Councilor DeSorger. Oh, your microphone is muted, I believe.
Okay. This is my last question, I promise. On the one for GSET for 82,000 from the 1627 bond fund. This year, for the 21 budget, we voted for $185,000 for the build out, and last year you all voted for $150,000 for the build out. And does this $82,000 here from this, could you explain the 82,086? Is that for additional fiber beyond that $150,000 that was allocated last year?
it is an addition, but one thing I would like to preface is that bond premium may only be used for capital.
Okay.
Or debt, and it belongs to whatever fund generated it. So GSET generated this with some of their bands, so the premium from those particular bands has to be segregated for GSET. As far as, John Long could probably speak to what he feels is a total need for build out. But we're trying to keep the process moving, by appropriating so much from capital. And when I worked through the premium amounts of breaking them apart, I asked John what he felt was the most important, and he said build out again. And as I said, it must be used for this, must be used for capital.
Great question, Councilor DeSorger. Did that answer it, or do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, my follow-up is, so that means that for the fiscal year ending at 2020, then the build out for GSET was actually $232,086. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I can tell you that John Lunt would certainly put this money to use, because he's already asked me how soon they might get it if it were approved. So we know GSET has plans to expand, and this could be part of it. Okay, any further discussion on anything? Seeing none. Our next meeting is Wednesday, June 17th, via remote access or the John's on. I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor DeSorger. Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Elmer.
Second by Counselor Forgy. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? This meeting is adjourned at 6:21 p.m. Thanks, everyone. See you in half an hour.